Hey guys, Patrick here from thepx.com. At patuloy tayong nakakita ng mga smartphones na merong front-facing camera na either has the same quality or mas maganda pa kaysa dun sa primary camera sa likod. At medyo may sense talaga itong pagbabago na to. Since karamihan talaga sa mga tao ngayon ay mahilig mag-selfie. At kung hindi pa rin to obvious, this review is for the OPPO F3 Plus. But the thing is, despite having the best-in-class selfie-taking capabilities, does the F3 Plus a good all-around device? Does the steep asking price of 23,990 pesos is really justifiable? Well, let's figure that out in our full review. OPPO may have made some minor tweaks with the F3 Plus's looks, but the change is vaguely visible. This device still looks very similar to the devices before it. The OPPO F3 Plus, together with the OPPO F1s and the OPPO A39, which I have also reviewed before, they all share the same iPhone-ish look. The all-white face and the gold backplate and all of the other tiny accents sure makes it look like an Apple smartphone. But what OPPO developed on this device is something that they are calling the 6-string antenna lines. Instead with going to the traditional antenna lines that have a thick and obtrusive look, OPPO redesigned this essential hardware, which not only made the device look better, but also improved signal quality. The device is also wrapped with chamfered edges, which are etched at the back panel and blatantly shows the partition of it with the front glass. Also, the OPPO F3 Plus, at katulad ng mga ibang Plus devices that are out today, meron din siyang malaki at phably na profile. Other than its large 6-inch display, the device also has a slightly sizable chin and forehead. This is forgivable considering all of the hardware that is packed into it. And besides, OPPO was able to make up for it by having an ultra-thin bezel of only 1.78mm. Yung mga users na mayroong maliliit na kamay might find it really challenging to operate this device with one hand. The device can also take a lot of space in your purse at medyo mahirap talaga siyang pagkasyahin sa isang bulsa. On the other hand, the OPPO F3 Plus also has some noticeable weight to it but still quite light for a device with this size. Sa harap makikita natin yung 6-inch Full HD IPS TFT display which has a 1920 by 1080 resolution and has a total of 367 pixels per inch. All of these are being safely covered by Corning Gorilla Glass 5. Quality-wise, the display delivers good performance. The colors are punchy but not exaggerated. Blacks are deep and sharpness is really unquestionable. The device can also get really bright. However, outer visibility performance isn't really that impressive. At the front, we also have the new and improved fingerprint scanner. Now, maliban sa looks ng device, OPPO might also have gotten some inspiration from Apple when they designed the new home button / fingerprint scanner. The said button now works like the ones we see on the iPhone 7s. The hardware is now just the sensor itself, so happens to direct you back to the homepage once the device is unlocked. The mechanical button is now gone. On the other hand, the fingerprint scanner is one of the fastest that I have ever tested, and it was able to detect my fingerprint successfully almost 95% of the time. At the left, we have the volume controls, while the right houses the lock and power switch and the SIM tray. The buttons aren't the most satisfying thing to press, but still decently tactile. They have an ultra-thin profile and are only slightly protruded. Now, probably the main downside here is the hybrid implementation on the SIM tray. Instead of having the option to still use 2 SIM cards, despite the presence of a microSD card, you are now only left to decide to either use another SIM or expand your storage. And by the way, this thing can accommodate a microSD card with a capacity of up to 256GB. It looks like OPPO is still grounded and has no plans on flying to the future by still including a 3.5mm headphone port. But it would have been nice to see a USB Type-C implementation rather than the standard USB port. But that's just my opinion. And besides, this may have something to do with the F3 Plus's VOOC fast charging feature for its large 4000mAh battery. Now, itong VOOC charging only works with the supplied adapter. I was able to get from 15% to 100% in around 1 hour and 30 minutes, while a quick 5-minute charge gave me an extra 9% in my battery. The battery performance is also impressive. During my tests, the device could easily last me through a whole day with still a comfortable amount of juice left to utilize when I get home. That's a whole day of web browsing, exchanging text messages, streaming videos online and offline, and listening to music on my commute. There's also a loudspeaker placed at the bottom, which has an impressive performance. The volume is loud and can easily fill a quiet room. The low frequencies are present, although the highs are a tiny bit distorted at high volumes. The OPPO F3 Plus has some serious power inside. The device sports the latest Qualcomm MSM8976 Pro, Snapdragon 653, which has an octa-core processor. There's also a large 4GB of RAM and an Adreno 510 GPU. Titles like Real Racing 3 and UFC was playable at decent frame rates. A processor-demanding game called SimCity is also playable on this thing. But on the downside, the device tends to overheat during extensive gameplay. The large 4GB of RAM is also blazing on this one. You can easily switch between different applications at a jiffy. There's also a large 64GB of built-in storage with 52.27GB usable. Now, kahit medyo malaki na punta dun sa operating system, having a 52.27GB worth of space is still spacious enough to store a lot of your applications, videos, or para sa case ng device na to, mga selfies. The OPPO F3 Plus is being run by Android 6.0.1 Marshmallow with the company's own ColorOS 3.1 top. Tulad na lang ng design ng device, the interface has blatantly got a lot of inspiration from Apple's iOS interface. The Helvetica new fonts, the minimalistic icon designs, the native apps layout, and the settings menu, they all look very familiar. Ganun pa man, it actually made the interface look aesthetically pleasing. Yun nga lang, a lot of tiny Android features are now gone, and I have also noticed a lot of glitches. Now, let's get right into the goods. The OPPO F3 Plus has a dual front-facing camera. There's an 8-megapixel front shooter with a 120-degree wide-angle lens for when you want to take group photos. But if you wanted to go solo and wanting to take a selfie without stretching anything, then there's a 16-megapixel secondary front-facing camera. Both sensors on the front can take excellent photos. The colors are good. The contrast and exposure are also impressive if you set it right. The dynamic range is decent. Sharpness and details are also good, with the standard 16-megapixel camera being sharper, of course. The wide-angle lens can surely fit a lot of subjects in one frame, but if you didn't frame it correctly, the subjects at the edges would look a little stretched and distorted. The device is also come equipped with what OPPO is calling the Beautify 4.0. The feature has a bunch of built-in filters that helps your skin appear smoother. There's also some on-screen watermark that shows your current location and the temperature. The app also lets you enable the bokeh effect, which utilizes two cameras to isolate the subject from the background by completely blurring it. The feature kind of works, but it cannot distinguish the foreground and background perfectly. And before we forget, there's a 16-megapixel shooter at the back with a Sony IMX398 sensor that has a 1.5.8-inch sensor that OPPO is claiming that Sony exclusively developed for them. There's also a wide-open f1.7 aperture. The images can produce are surprisingly beautiful. Colors are good with punchy colors, but not overly saturated. Contrast is also impressive, sharpness and details are also present, and zooming in can still recover a lot of details. The camera might only had a decent dynamic range performance, but still quite impressive. The device can also shoot 720p videos, 1080p at 30fps, and 4K at 30fps. Video recorded at 4K resolution looks incredibly sharp. Colors and contrast are also impressive, while the dynamic range is fairly decent. However, I have noticed some stuttering on the videos. A feature software update can fix this, but for now, taking non-pro videos would be harmless. Now, conclusion time. There are a lot of things to love about this device. The OPPO F3 Plus has a stunning and sturdy build quality, a large and sharp display, an ultra-fast fingerprint scanner, an impressive set of cameras, powerful processor, and a sizable battery capacity. All of this constitutes to an impressive and all-around smartphone. Yun nga lang, I really do think that the interface still needs a lot of polishing, a hurdle that can be easily fixed with a software update. The OPPO F3 Plus is definitely definitely the best device that the company has ever made. But it is definitely not the best in its category. Para sa presyo niya na 23,990 pesos, sobrang dami na ng alternatives na available sa market. Yung iba pa nga dun actually delivers better performance. But the thing is, only a few devices out there offers a dual front-facing camera. If you're really all about that selfie game, then I think you might wanna consider this OPPO F3 Plus. Yun nga lang, I do suggest na antayin nyo muna magbaba yung presyo ng kahit konti. Again, this has been Patch Creator from epicx.com. If you want to learn more about this device, make sure to check out our full unit review link below. You might also hit the thumbs up button and share this video if you liked it, and also subscribe if you still haven't. Thank you for watching.